Linked gives you everything that you need. It literally is like a business in a box.
Yeah. So imagine making 10,000 from a side hustle part-time. That's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I've got Azlynn here. She's one of our Canadian students with Linked Permanent Jewelry Training. So Azlynn, tell us a little bit about your experience so far with, adding permanent jewelry to your businesses.
I've actually been loving having permanent jewelry as my side hustle. Um, the margins, it's really good margins. And I think that's what initially really intrigued me was when I sort of just like map things out and I'm like, this could be a really lucrative thing that I can build into my life in a super flexible way. And so that was something that like initially really attracted me. And then the other aspect was Linked sort of took the guesswork out of things, and that was why I chose to go with Linked. Was I didn't have to be stressed to find a supplier. I didn't have to be stressed to find the right equipment. They
Mm.
kind of put that package together for me, and I just really appreciated how simple it was with the training program and the equipment. Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
super, super awesome.
it blows me away by how many people I see on Facebook groups. They're like, I'm going to try to learn this myself and try to figure out everything. I'm just like, I get that you're trying to save a little money, but I think you're losing a lot of time and money long term if you try to do this yourself.
Yeah, I think that that would be so stressful and, like, a little bit dangerous, like, we're
Yeah.
still using, like, a micro welder, it's still there's, some risk, so I love how Linked it's just so straightforward, it's so simple, and the resources and the support are awesome.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about your background. Did you have any other businesses or other things that you do? Because you mentioned this was a side hustle.
Yeah, so I have a network marketing background, and so I definitely wear the hat of entrepreneurship. And so
Mhm.
I love how this sort of incorporated into like something that I can do on the side. And of course, it's still you're making your own hours. It still is that element of flexibility for when you're booking your calendar. And that was something that was so important to me. I definitely am not the 9 to 5 type of girl. I like to have that
Mhm.
flexibility, and that was something that really drew me into the permanent jewelry, like partnering with Linked to create my own brand was the flexibility of just fitting like some evening appointments, then I work some Saturdays, and it sort of just works into the to my life and what I'm already doing.
So, based on like the success you've had so far, have you ever considered making this like your main hustle and not just the side hustle?
No, no, I really like it. I really like the flexibility of it and fitting it in instead of yeah, I just really like the flexibility of
Yeah,
it.
and that's one thing I love about it because, like, we have students who go, 1,000% and try to do this, like, 100 hours a week, and then some people like to have it as a side hustle. It's just you can really make it your own.
Yes, and that's what I love too. Because honestly, some months like December was such a busy month, actually,
Mhm.
ever since I started. So I started, back in November, so I've only been doing it a couple months here, and when I started, I was taking appointments like crazy, I was working every weekend, and it was so fun, but I really like that I'm able to say yes and no to how much I wanna work, and that's something
Right.
that yeah, the flexibility aspect of it.
That's awesome, and so did you have any, like, previous welding experience?
No, no,
That's
no.
a common question I get, so I always ask, what about jewelry experience? Did you have, any kind of jewelry experience besides just wearing it?
Nope. Yep. Just wearing jewelry, and I honestly wanted the reason why I started my business was because I actually wanted permanent jewelry so badly, and I couldn't find anything within, let's say, like an 8-hour driving radius of from where I
Wow.
live. And so I was just like, okay, I need to bring permanent jewelry to my province, which otherwise known as a state, but the province
Mhm.
that I live in Canada. And so that's sort of what got me started was my passion for like I wanted it so badly for myself.
So as far as, like, getting supplies and materials in Canada, have you had any issues with that?
No, honestly, Linked has been so awesome to deal with, and I was able to talk with Sarah. We were able to work everything out as far as my supplies coming across the border, and it's been pretty
Mhm.
seamless ever since.
That's great to hear. So, for those just starting, as a permanent jewelry artist or someone who's wanting to get in, what advice would you have for them, starting out?
Honestly, just do it because Linked gives you everything that you need. It literally is like a business in a box.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty cool thing that you guys got going on because yeah, just do it. Just stop thinking about it and just do it.
Awesome. That's great to hear. So as far as like the support group, like what do you think about that?
I love it. The Facebook group.
Mhm.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I have my notifications on, so I'm able just to use it as a resource. If I have certain questions, I'm able to search to see if other people have the same questions. But I really do like that community of people, and we're like cheering each other on, or like, if
Mhm.
we're having an issue, there's so much support throughout, like obviously with you guys, but also through the other permanent jewelry artists within the course.
Yeah, I've been so proud of our, our students because you guys like, let's say somebody has a question, like you literally jump on there and answer the question before I even get a chance to sometimes. And so it's just, an awesome community that, that you guys have helped create. So, you mentioned doing some events and pop-ups. What has your experience have been with like, finding pop-ups and, getting into events?
Awesome. Yeah. Honestly, it's been so interesting because of course when we start any type of business where everyone is starting like zero clients, zero for me, like with permanent jewelry, zero experience. And so
Mhm.
really it's getting your name out there and really just like the more people, the more awareness that you have about what you're doing, who you're working with, and really utilizing the current network that you have
Mhm.
to get referrals. And so that's awesome too, is I've been able to grow like, pop up in different clothing stores and stuff just through I know a girl who knows a girl. And so that's what's really cool about this business is yeah, you kind of just jump into it. None of us have clients and just get your name out there, ask for referrals, get a referral program going, and
Yep.
it can just really snowball from there.
Yeah, and so that like I know you said you have a lot of experience in network marketing. I know that, we're not in MLM, we're not network
No.
marketing, but I'm sure your experience with like reaching out to people and just building a network,
Yeah.
that's huge. That's
Yeah.
awesome because that's really what business is about.
Absolutely. It's definitely like the relationships and the connections that you have with
Mhm.
people. And like your personal brand, your personal reputation will definitely like set you up for success when you're connecting with other businesses and yeah, building those relationships.
Yeah, and referrals are awesome, but I've also seen a lot of like with permanent jewelry repeat customers because it gets addicting.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely like, they get a couple of bracelets and then they come back for an anklet and then they
Yeah.
bring their mom and their mom needs a couple things and like and then they get a necklace. Like it's definitely that's been super fun to see those clients coming back.
As far as like structuring your pricing and stuff, that's always a common question. What kind of, what works best for you?
This was this was like a little bit challenging
Mhm.
because the margins are so good with permanent jewelry that you really just have to sit down. So
Yeah.
for me, I sat down and I looked at like what my market is. So because there's not that many places around me that offer permanent jewelry, then I sort of had a little bit of flexibility with my
Mhm.
pricing. And now, as other companies are sort of popping up, I'm keeping an eye out to see, what are they doing? What do I offer? How is what I'm offering setting myself apart? How is my branding setting myself apart as a business from my competitors and what they're offering as well? So for me, because I am a pop up like I show up to events, I have like a small box and that's how I roll. I know that I'm offering a different experience than if I was in a salon where they were coming into a place and that was all I offered or whatever. So I know that they're getting a different experience. So it was all things that I considered when I was making my pricing was I'm not a jewelry store, so I think if I was a jewelry store I could charge more because I have that type of experience, I have that type of setup. But for me, as just like a one woman show, I kind of accounted for that as well based on, yeah, sort of what I am able to offer.
Okay. And to get like events, like let's say that have you been reaching out to like salons and boutiques or
Yeah, yeah, and clothing stores has been my best. I've just like
Mhm.
partnered with them. Yeah.
All right, so when you reach out to salons or boutiques or clothing stores, how receptive have they been, or do you kind of have to explain what permanent jewelry is? Like, talk us through that.
I honestly, through the brand that I've built prior to it, I actually got a lot of traction with when I said like I'm offering like pop ups. a lot of companies actually reached out to me just
Hmm.
within like the town that I'm from. So they reached out and they were so excited that they wanted to have me in their stores. And so that's how we were able to collaborate that way. A couple other companies, just letting them know like this is my availability. A lot of times, if they were having like a launch, so I did lots of holiday launch parties, or I did like, yeah, if they were having some kind of a special event that they were like, oh, this would be such a fun thing to have alongside whatever we're doing in our store. And so I found that that has been like a really cool aspect of doing the pop-ups.
Awesome. And then do you use any kind of booking software, or like how does that work?
I don't. I'm not overly organized on that front. I simply just like use a calendar in my
Mhm.
iPhone, and then when they book with me, I just put in my iPhone, and then I just send them a text reminder the day before. I check in, and it works for me. But of course, because it's my side hustle,
Mhm.
it's not as high volume as if this was my full time thing. Yeah.
Awesome. I mean, it's good to see all different types of perspectives. Some people love booking software, some people just do it like you. And so there's no right or wrong answer. If someone's on the fence and they're like, I want to start permanent jewelry, make a little bit of extra money, but I'm kind of scared to, I'm scared to invest. What would you tell them?
I would say that because the margins are good margins, you will make your money back. So I pretty much, after my first pop up, I did a 2-day pop up at a clothing store. After my first pop up, I had already completely recouped everything that I had invested after the first pop up. So after that,
Yeah.
it was just it was yeah, I was so happy with that. So honestly, I wouldn't overly stress about the investment aspect because you're able to make it back really quick, which is
Yeah.
so different if you think of any other
Mhm.
business. It's
Yeah.
that's so different.
Yeah. I've never seen a business like this where not only are the profit margins huge, but you can literally make your investment back in one day. And this is not just like a random lucky person. Like we literally have students that say this every single day that they made their money back in one day. And
Yeah,
so that's just so awesome.
yeah, absolutely.